little words. Let's see where this goes. I want to start with that because these 6 words sound like someone who's open-minded, or somebody who's very chill and relaxed, or even like somebody who knows how to go with the flow. Tonight I want to show you what they actually cost you when you say that, and what to say and do instead. Hello everyone, I'm Michelle and welcome to Love Chat with the Love Twins. I'm so happy to be with you tonight, and if you're joining us right now, drop your name and where you're from in the chat. We love to know who's in the room with us. And if you're watching the replay on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook or wherever else we might be streaming, or catching us later, I want you to lean into this conversation now or later when you're listening to it. So I want to go back to those 6 words. Let's just see where this goes. And I want to spend a moment on why that phrase has become so normalized, because it really is something that we're hearing more and more of, not just from women hearing it from men that they're dating or in relationship with, but from the women who we coach as well. And it's become normalized, but it wasn't always that way. Somewhere along the way, it became acceptable to say this when you're dating to someone. It's still, we call it the challenge. And it sounds like the path of least resistance, and also like the path that would cause the less amount of pain, feels the safest, and promises nothing. So I think most of you watching tonight already know which person in the dynamic ends up waiting when you hear, let's see how this goes. So today we're going to be looking at those 6 words and what they actually cost emotionally, relationally, in terms of time, which is so valuable to all of us, especially those of us who are busy, successful women, building our empires, building our lives, raising our families. It's time that we'll never get back when you're just waiting to see what happens. And I'm going to talk to you about the difference between, and this is very important, there's a difference between letting love unfold naturally and letting ambiguity run your love life. Those are 2 very different things. So we're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about what does it look like to move forward with clarity, with confidence, and with the kind of self-respect that it's not going to negotiate with uncertainty. It's either clear or it's not clear. So let's get into it. All right. Here's the thing about, let's see where this goes. It sounds mature, doesn't it? It sounds very mature. It sounds like you're not rushing, you're not desperate. It sounds like you're understanding that love takes time, and you're not going to pressure the person or pressure the process. It doesn't sound desperate. And it doesn't even sound like, oh, I don't give ultimatums, right? So all of that sounds great, which is why it's been so normalized. But here's what usually happens. What usually happens is this. You meet someone, there's chemistry, there's attraction, you feel like there's a connection here, it feels promising, and then you date for a few weeks, and then you date for a few months, and then you date for a few more months, and you're spending your time together, and you're dating for a few more months, and time keeps passing, it keeps ticking away. But there hasn't been any conversation about what this is without you having to ask. And I'm going to go into that in a little bit. And what I mean by that is that you're left wondering, what is this? Is this a friendship? Are we just 2 people who like to spend time together? Are we friends with benefits if you went that direction? Like, where is my place in this person's life? What is actually going on here? And if you're new to us, you may not know this, but and I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, we don't teach our clients ever to have the conversation, where is this going? So if you're dating somebody who is not being forthcoming about what place you have in his life, what happens is, if you're afraid of coming off like ultimatum, pressure, or whatever, you won't say anything, and you wait and wait and wait. And that waiting feels like patience, but it's not patience. Because patience and ambiguity are not the same thing. And the difference between those two things is the difference between waiting with intention or just waiting to be chosen. So here's what actually happens inside of let's wait, let's see where this goes over time. Here's what happens to you. You start monitoring your words, you start monitoring his words, you start analyzing every text, every plan that's made, every invitation that's made, or every time an invitation is not made. And what happens, everything becomes like this data point in this spy mystery you're now a part of, trying to decipher and decrypt and decode what he's saying. And then what's also happening is you're going through this mental algorithm trying to make sense of what doesn't make sense because it's so unclear. And when that happens, you are not present. Like the real you, the essence of you it's not present in the dating experience, or it's not present in the relationship, if you're in a relationship, because you're auditing and checking and balancing things. And that takes your energy away from being really here. And the audit is running, it's running in the background, it's running your life. And what is happening is it's actually quietly draining your attention, it's draining your energy, and it's most importantly draining your peace. If you know what I'm talking about, go ahead and type yes in the chat. If you've spent a lot of time trying to figure out what is this, what are we, where's this going, and you're reading text and you're spending time wondering, did I say the right thing? Did I not say the right thing? I was actually coaching somebody on this today. It will drain your attention, your energy, and your peace from you. Because you start editing yourself. Should I say this? Should I not say this? Should I bring it up? Not bring it up. I don't want to talk about the future because I don't want him to think I want to get married, but I do want to get married, but I don't want to bring it up because I don't want to scare him away. So you don't know what's going on, and you never ask the questions that actually matter to you because you're operating in this very hyper alert, very audible or auditing, very careful way of being, which means you are not there. And he cannot fall for you if you are not there. And why this happens is because you're so focused on not appearing too much, too needy, too whatever. And then you end up with too little. Too little patience, too little time, too little energy, too little reality, too little clarity. And the thing is, you're the one that's arranging it that way, but it doesn't feel like that. So as time passes, and this is the part I really want you to lean into and listen to here, you start to mistake his level of comfort and his ambiguity with a signal or a sign about your worth, which is absolutely not related to your worth at all. And the reason you feel like that is not so much because of what he's doing, but because of who you're becoming inside of this dynamic. You stop being the woman who is the one deciding what she wants and understanding, is this what I want or is this not what I want? And instead you become the woman who's waiting to find out if she's wanted. So instead of deciding, is this what I want? You're waiting to find out if you're the wanted woman. That is not patience. It's not patience. And what happens is when you mistake that with patience, and this familiarity and this waiting is running the show, your standards are also in the waiting room. Instead of right here where you are. So I want to say something directly to you, the woman who is listening. If you recognize yourself in anything that I said so far, and I thank you for those of you who responded with yes, so I see it's resonating. If this resonated with you, if you're recognizing something within yourself, don't judge it. Just keep listening and keep leaning in. Because I want you to hear me loud and clear when I say this. This is not about him. It's not, has nothing to do with him. It's not about what he's a good person. Oh, I lost all of you. Okay, so I was saying it's not about him. It's not about, is he a good person? Is this a real connection? It's not about that. It's about understanding love cannot exist, cannot be built on a shaky foundation, and the foundation is the relationship to yourself. Right? Love doesn't require ultimatums, and it doesn't run on timelines. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about being a woman who knows what she wants, a woman who's done what we call your inner work, your heart work, and you're so clear in your vision that you know better than to outsource your power and your worth to somebody else. And you know also better than to outsource the direction you're moving in to accommodate somebody else's comfort level. But some of us have been doing that, and we've done it more than once. So I'm inviting you to move from the woman who's waiting to be wanted to the woman who knows what she wants. Okay? And here's something else I want to say. I have so much to say about this topic because I spend a lot of time coaching women on this, and I want you to feel yourself as that woman who knows what she wants and is the one that's doing the choosing. So I want to say this because this is one of the most powerful pieces of coaching and heart work that we do with our clients inside of our programs. And we do it, and we spend a lot of time on this because it's one of the most freeing things that you as a woman can understand about how love actually works when it's the right match. When it's the right match, not just for somebody else, but for you. And when you become the one who's choosing instead of waiting to be chosen. And here it is. You never have to ask a man, where is this going? I'm going to say that again. You're never going to have to ask a man, where is this going? When you become a woman who knows what she wants, what we call an irresistible woman, you never have to ask that question. Because when a man is genuinely moving towards a future with you, it's not a mystery. He's not going to keep it a mystery. It's not something you have to decrypt from his text messages or read between the lines or listen to the last voicemail. You don't have to do any of that. It is visible and it is clear. And it's clear not just in the words that he says, but in how he shows up. And not just when it's convenient, even when it's inconvenient. It's a pattern that you will be able to see and feel and trust consistently only if you're present. If you're worried about trying to figure him out, you're not going to be able to see this because you're not going to be able to feel it inside of you. His words and actions combined are going to tell you the truth. The way he treats you, the way he talks to you, the way he talks about his future with you. He's making plans. He invites you to be part of his life. And he honors you, and he also promises he also honors the promises that he makes to you. All of this combined is going to tell you where this is going. That's why you don't have to ask. And you'll know if it's a match for you if you're clear on who you are, what you value, and what you want. A man who is serious about being with you is not going to leave you wondering. Everybody should write that down. He's not going to leave you wondering. He makes it so clear because he wants it to be clear for you, because he doesn't want you to feel uncertain about him. He wants you all in. So when a woman finds herself asking, where is this going? In our work, we say that question, if you have to ask it, you already have the answer. If it were going somewhere, you would know. It would be clear. And it won't be because he's handed you some timeline, but because the direction would be unmistakable. You're right here. You're both aligned. You're both moving in the same direction. You're talking future together. And actions match words. You would feel it. This is why getting really connected to yourself, your body, your energy is so important. This is why you've got to reconnect to your intuition, because if you can't feel it, you can't trust it. But you'd be able to feel it, and you would be able to see it, and there'd be nothing to decrypt. And this doesn't mean that love moves at the same pace for everyone, or it moves in the same pace when you're for everyone or in any relationship, right? You may not always be at the same exact moment, but you're moving in the same direction. And there is a difference between, and this is like when I was writing this, I was like, wow, this is really powerful distinction. There's a difference between pace and the absence of direction. And I think that people have confused them and combined them. There's a difference between whether we're moving at a slower pace than maybe you would like, or whether there's absolutely there's no direction. I don't even know what this is. And if you're a woman who's clear on who you are, and you're clear in your love vision, you will never have to chase for that clarity. I remember the moment in my life where I got that I was no longer going to chase clarity, because I was clear about what I wanted. And I was dating my now husband, and he was still uncertain about whether or not he wanted to be in a relationship. And, we were dating, we'd been dating for several months. And I said, I'm starting to have feelings. And I know what I want. I know I want to be in a committed relationship. So I understand if that's not where you are. I love you, but I love me more. And it was like having this out-of-body experience when I said that. And I share this often because it was the first time I saw myself standing for myself, who I was, what I valued, what I wanted, and what I knew I deserved. And it wasn't dependent on somebody outside of me. So when you get to be that level of clear about who you are, what you're doing, what you want, you don't have to pull it out of someone. It will be there. You don't have to ask for what comes naturally when somebody is there with you. So you don't have to chase, and you don't have to convince. This is the biggest piece of work that we do with our clients. You don't have to make your desires or yourself small, or make yourself more available, or be more patient or more hopeful that eventually it will tip in their direction. The man who's right for you is going to get out of his own way so he can be with you. So you don't even have to worry about any of that. He's going to remove ambiguity from the equation, because leaving you in it is not something that he is comfortable with. He's not comfortable being in it, and he's not comfortable with you being in it. And that is a standard you get to set for yourself, and it's not too high. You get to have that. And we've seen it happen time and time again for our clients. You got to raise your standards for yourself, and that person who's right for you is going to meet you there. But you've also got to be consistent with it, and you got to stand for that. All right. And this is so important to get, because being in that space of uncertainty, unclarity, ambiguity has a huge price tag to it. And, I really believe that some women intuitively know when something's off. When there is this dynamic that's not clear, it's undefined, you would feel it in your body. And here's one of the ways it feels, just so you know. It's this quiet, like low grade humming anxiety that never quite goes away. And then you push it away, but it's still there. And you may even have a hard time explaining it, because he's not doing anything wrong. He's not lying, he's not cheating, he hasn't broken any promises. He hasn't broken any promises because he's not making any. Which is part of what we're talking about. And so even though that's there, you've got to hold your own boundary and your own standards. Because ambiguity is not just going to cost you time, and it will cost you time. It's also going to cost you trust and discernment. When you are in a dating experience with no defined direction, you're spending a lot of your emotional energy and a lot of your bandwidth trying to figure out what his words mean, what his actions mean, or lack of words and action. It's exhausting. And so then you're in figuring out mode and not in choosing mode. They're not the same state. Think about what it costs you when you're in this unclear, undefined state. You can't plan. You're not being fully honest about where you are emotionally, because you don't know if what you're feeling is real, because there's nothing that feels real there. You can't fully bring yourself forward because you're being protective of yourself, and you're not sure what version of you is the version that would get you what you want. And you can't even receive love clearly because you're in the state of trying to figure things out, figure out what this is. There's an enormous amount of energy that goes into that, and then it's redirected away from your own life, your own ability to be clear, and your own ability to move forward. And there's another cost that a lot of people don't talk about, and it's the opportunity cost. Every week, every month that you spend with someone who's unclear about where they are with you because they're not saying it, they're not acting like it, the situation is unclear. Every week and month you spend there is a week or month you're not spending building something real with someone who actually knows what they want, and what they want is to be with you and build it with you. And that's not about being in a hurry. This matters because your time is important. Your desire is important. And treating either one of those, your time or your desire, as some infinitely expendable thing is not patience. It's called settling. And settling is what happens when you stay in what is familiar, feels familiar, because it feels too risky to be clear. Because at least in this undefined, unclear thing, you're living on hope that he will somehow come to his senses. He will somehow see how amazing you are. And hope, even when it's based on evidence, feels better to you than the alternative, which is walking away and stepping towards someone, or making yourself available to someone who is ready. But here's what I know. After 17 years of doing this work, hope without direction is not love growing. It's a love barrier. And it's disguised as potential and possibility. And it's going to cost you. Now, if you're a woman who is in a relationship, you may also be noticing that some of this applies to you. It doesn't only live in the dating world. It lives in long-term relationships where you keep putting off important conversations. They keep getting postponed, or you don't bring them up because you're afraid of what's going to happen. Where you haven't really fully spoken what it is that you want. And you feel like you have to accommodate to their pace. And you've done that for so long, you can't even remember the last time you checked in with your own pace. So this is really, really important to get. Listen to me. Clarity will not threaten love. Not real love. Clarity will not threaten love. If it's real love, clarity will actually open something up. And it's one of the most beautiful gifts you can give one another in a relationship. Being very clear about where you stand, what you want, what you desire. Now, I know I've shared a lot, and before I continue, I just want to pause here for a moment, because if you're watching this and you're in a space of, man, I'm really connecting with this, but I don't know how to get out of this, or I don't know, how can I know if this is ambiguity, if this is real, whether it's in your dating life or your relationship, or you just got out of a relationship and you're still sorting through what happened. I don't want you to walk away from tonight without any real support, and just, feeling something but not having access to do something with it. And you can get that level of support and that level of clarity. We've been talking about clarity a lot today if you've never had a love breakthrough call with one of our coaches, we're going to drop the link in the chat so that you can schedule a call at a time and on a date that works for you. And I would say sooner rather than later, tonight, not tomorrow, because that putting things off is part of this whole pattern. And go ahead and talk to somebody who can actually support you in getting clear and figuring it out. Right? So if you've been living inside of a let's see where this goes, or when is this going to happen, for longer than you are even comfortable admitting, then the conversation starts right here. Click on the link and schedule your call. No more waiting on someone else to decide for you or to make it clear for you. You get to talk with somebody that's going to help you get clear for it yourself. Okay? All right, so let's keep going here. We're almost at time. So this next piece is just as important as what I was talking about, and I'm giving a little bit more time to it because this is where the rubber meets the road, okay? And it's a distinction that I really want to spend just a little bit more time on, because I think that this is the one that gets the most misunderstood. And I kind of alluded to it before, but I'm going to go deeper into it now. And it's the difference between being a woman who moves through love with confidence and a woman who keeps arriving in the same place with different people. That was me. I used to call it insert man syndrome. It's like I would change the partner, but I'd end up in the same situation over and over and over again. So I'll start by saying this. Letting love unfold naturally is very important. It's a beautiful thing. And when you're experiencing it, it feels so good. Because real love is not this transaction that you can force to completion or you can force to your preferred timeline. It doesn't work that way. There's this kind of presence and trust and this willingness to let something develop without trying to grasp it. And that's actually one of the most powerful things a woman can bring into any emerging connection or reconnection with your partner if you've been there for a while and you feel a bit disconnected. And that ability to let things unfold naturally is not the same thing as leaving things unclear. And the way that you can tell the difference is not about how long you've been seeing someone or how long you've been in a relationship with someone. Okay, I'm going to say this again because this is important and you're going to want to write this down. Letting love unfold naturally. Whether it's in a dating situation that's new or in a relationship that's continues to expand and grow over time. It has nothing to do with the amount of time you've been with somebody or you've been seeing somebody. It has everything to do with whether or not you're at peace with yourself. When love is unfolding, you feel it moving and you will be peaceful around it. Even if the pace is slower than what you want it to be, there will be a sense of direction to it and you will feel at peace. You will feel it. You will also feel like you are more known and you're coming more, like you're becoming known more because, and you're growing as a person. That will be another piece of the experience. When unclarity and ambiguity are running the show, the movement stops, but the waiting continues. You're waiting and waiting and waiting. There's no peace for yourself. There's no peace of mind, peace of being. You'll feel that anxiety in your body. Conversations stay very surface level because having a conversation about something deeper feels like it's going to be risky. It's going to disrupt the dynamic. They're going to get upset and leave. And the real clue to pay attention to is you will feel like you know less about where you stand the longer you stay. You will know less, not more. And you'll start to recognize that the thing that's keeping you there is not the relationship itself, but there's actually this hope that this is going to become something. If you're patient enough, if you remain low-key enough, if you're chill enough, if you're available enough. And you get into an emotional agreement with that. And it's an emotional agreement that's been there for a long time that says if I need less and ask for less and I want less, maybe I'll finally get what I want. Because what you want is like this big now. But what's happening is that agreement that you made that you can't really have what you want. And I hear this all the time. Like, can I really have what I want? I doubt that I can have what I want. Is what I want even possible? Yes, yes, and yes. But you got to get out of situations that can't give you what you want. You've got to have the courage to do that. So how do you know if you're in one that's moving towards something or in one that's not? I already said you'll have a sense of peace. You'll have a sense of growth within yourself. And here's another question. Well, here's a question that you can ask yourself. You can ask yourself this. If this dating experience or this relationship stayed exactly the way it is right now for another 6 months, would I respect the choice I'm making by staying today? If it was the same way it is today 6 months from now, would you respect the decision you made to stay today? If the answer is yes, then something is unfolding and you can trust the pace. If the answer is no, if 6 more months would have it feel like you've lost something, yourself, time, opportunity, like you've settled, like it's less than what you really desire, then you're not in something that's unfolding. You're in something that's costing you the love and the future that you would have with someone real in something real. And the woman who knows the difference between those two things is not the woman who found the right relationship. She's a woman who's done her heart work, and it's made her able to tell the difference. And it's also made her brave enough to act on what she finds. So you don't need ultimatums. You don't want to have a conversation with somebody that's called, if you don't want to be with me, if you can't decide now, I'm leaving. Because if they have their back to the wall, they're either going to run or they're going to say, okay, I'm ready, and they don't really feel it, and you're going to start to feel even less peace in that relationship. And by the way, who wants to be with somebody who felt pressured into being with them? Cringe. Nobody. And it would always leave you wondering, would they have said it on their own if I would have just waited? Which is not about waiting. If you would have just gotten clear, actually. If I would have gotten clear, if I would have just seen what was in front of me, would there have been the opportunity to hear it naturally? Or are they just with me because I pushed them into a... And I know many somebodies actually, they just all came up at the same time, who put those ultimatums on someone, and it was never clear. She was always insecure in the marriage. She never truly believed that he wanted to be with her, and she would make it impossible for him to just say, just be, because he had to keep proving and proving and proving, not just what he was doing wasn't showing up the way she wanted. It was never what she wanted in the first place. Because if what you want is somebody who wants to be with you, forcing somebody to say something they're not ready for isn't going to get you that. And that's a whole other love chat. All right, so moving forward with clarity. It means you know what you want. It means you're honest with yourself about it. You tell the truth to yourself about it. And then you take action that aligns with that truth, whether that means staying or going, based on your commitment to yourself. Right? And some connections are not going to survive that honesty. That's not a loss, that is a gift. You just saved yourself from more months and more years of walking on eggshells and putting your desires on a shelf, putting your voice on a shelf, putting your standards on a shelf. The right man for you is going to be the one who is genuinely available and genuinely interested, and he's showing it, and he's letting you know what he wants to build with you, and his actions and his words match, and he will not disappear because of clarity. He's going to lean into it. All right, so that's for the single ladies. If you're in a relationship, this third piece is an invitation to have an honest conversation. Again, if you haven't had a call with one of our love coaches, we're going to drop the link again so that you can go ahead and schedule that, because sometimes, you see what you see and you know what you know, and you can't get access to what you don't know. How do I have this conversation without it sounding like an ultimatum? Especially if you're recognizing, wow, everything I've said has been an ultimatum, has been on some timeline. How do you say that without threatening the relationship? All right? So, if you've been thinking about it, you've been turning it around in your head, how do I say this? How do I do this? How do I actually create it so I can have this? And you still don't have clarity about it, it's not that the answer's not there. It's because you're trying to find it on your own. And there's a limit to what you can see from inside your own head and inside your own situation. And that doesn't mean that you're weak. It's just how the brain works. And the most successful, self-aware women I know still have someone come that they can sit across a table or across a phone line with them and say, here's what I see. Not based on my opinion and not based on what I've been through, but what I've actually seen work, and I've been able to multiply and verify and prove with other people. So your next action step would be scheduling a love breakthrough call. All right? Click on the link that's in the chat, because if you've done the thinking and you've done the processing and you may have even done the journaling, And what you haven't done is talk to one of our coaches about it so they can help you look at the full picture of your love life and name exactly what's happening and help you walk towards a clear, specific next step. That's what this call will do for you. Okay? All right. Book it tonight, not tomorrow, not this weekend, or when you have an opportunity to forget about it. Do it right now. All right? Before I let you go, I want to leave you with this. Let's see where this goes. Isn't about patience. All right? It's about ambiguity. Now, this does not have to be the end if you're in that ambiguous state. It can be where you finally decide to stop letting someone else's pace set the direction for your own life, which is what I had to do in that story I shared with you. So you're not here to be convenient to somebody else's pace, and you're not here to tell somebody some ultimatum to get them to agree with you, and you're not here to be an option to somebody who's keeping you warm while they figure out what they want. You're here to build something real with someone who genuinely is available and wants to build it with you. And that kind of love doesn't come from waiting around. It doesn't. That kind of love comes from knowing what you want, what you value, who you are, and then being clear enough, grounded enough, courageous enough, and whole enough to recognize that you deserve it and not let anything get in the way of it. That's aligned love, and that's this work. And you are more than deserving of it. More than deserving of it. All right? So that's all I got for you today. It's a lot. Take it in. Book your call. Make sure you comment, like, share this love chat with someone that you love. Subscribe to our channel. Let us know in the comments what resonated with you tonight. What's your biggest takeaway? So we love to hear what you were left with and what you're doing next. If you scheduled your love breakthrough call, type LBC in the chat so we can celebrate with you. All right? And remember, you are not waiting for love to choose you. You are the one doing the choosing. So choose wisely. Until our hearts meet again, always remember that you are loved. Goodbye for now.